currently falling apart as well. If the credit doesn't start to flow again, then the police state and the war state is going to run out of money.
That's what we're hoping is going to happen. Yeah, I mean, anybody who likes peace in the world wants to shut the system down.
Right, so the credit bubble collapsing from those who are anti-war, anti-resource grab, anti-imperialism.
Absolutely, they're the same thing.
You're cheerleading the collapse of credit.
Yeah, in the form that it's taken. I mean, a democratization of credit, so that would be peaceful. That would be an alternative.
Let's see, the part of the endless war, of course, has been online. It appears the elite and the governments greatly fear what's happening in the digital space. And of course, in the digital space, I don't know if you follow this or not, but
a little bit.
There's an emergence of cryptocurrency called Bitcoin, which has actually been cited by central banks as something they genuinely fear as being a threat to their monopoly. Another aspect of the emerging online world. What's going on there?
Well, I haven't been following that specifically, but any zone of freedom is something that makes these people worry. It's all about stifling anything that looks like it might be an alternative, and especially anything that might be a democratic form of creating money. That's the danger. I mean, if you look at the history of America, the battle's been fought over and over again. I mean, one thing I've been looking at in my new book, The Democracy Project.
Well, let's take a look at this. Here it is, the Democracy Project. This is the gallery. It's not out yet, is it? I can't buy it.
It will be out on the 9th. Yeah.
Can I pre-order this somewhere?
April 9th. Yeah, sure.
Oh, fantastic. Okay, so it's called The Democracy
And it's about my experience in Occupy and how it relates to larger, democratic movements in history. Okay, so let me ask you, cut in here for a second. You were you're known for the participation in the Occupy movement. I was one of the early people involved.
And the Occupy movement seemed to lack a specific goal. But here we've defined a specific goal, which is to crash the credit system as a way to decapitalize the war machine. So why wasn't Occupy able to make that point more clearly?
Well, I think that there was a problem in that, on the left in general, they haven't really talked about that relation between forms of money creation and military power.
Why is that so difficult for the left to figure out? Because I have talked to the left, so to speak, for years about this, and the idea of incorporating economics into their manifestos or platform, they seem completely put off by that idea. Why are the left, why is the Occupy movement, why are those people fighting the imperial presence of America and others so tone deaf when it comes to economics?
I think that there are a lot of people increasingly realizing that this is important. It just hasn't traditionally been. Traditionally, there's been a sort of Marxist emphasis on production, and anybody who talks too much about finance is like, well, that's superstructure, There's been a tendency to poo-poo that kind of stuff.
They're losing. They're losing bad. I mean, why can't, but Occupy movement, you had the smartest people, out there on the street, and you had people like Peter Schiff, who is just a common garden variety stockbroker, able to just pick apart their arguments at will without any pushback whatsoever. When the arguments against Peter Schiff are so obvious to make.
Well, I mean, I don't know who he was debating, but we have some very good people there. I don't know who they put him up against.
Michael Hudson.
Oh, Michael Hudson, really?
Why not Michael Hudson? Why come Michael Hudson?
I don't know why not. I mean,
why isn't Michael Hudson more visible in this whole movement? He's got the intellectual chops for it. He's written the books about it. It doesn't seem like he's embraced by
people really like Michael Hudson.
But they don't push him up there as being their chief economist, for example. He could
we don't have a chief economist.
Why not?
It's a democratic movement. It's like many different people have many different points of view. Now, like within strike debt, for example. Now, there we have an analysis. That's where you go. Those are the people specifically dealing with that. And you see, the thing is, look, this is a movement that's a year old. Like, what social movement has transformed the world in 1 year? It's a long-haul thing, changing people's perceptions, changing the way the left looks at things, changing the way the ordinary people look at things, changing the way elites. I mean, it's going to take a huge process of building, and we're trying to do a lot of things at once. We're both trying to create a culture of democracy. We're trying to make connections that people just hadn't been making at all between, sort of class power, the 1%, government, coercion, the police state, and debt. It's a potent symbol that, actual stores are being replaced all over America by these sort of glass cubicles that don't sell anything but are full of guys with guns. I mean, it's a very big symbol for what America has become.
Let's move on. We have less than a minute left. Aaron Swartz, activist in the digital space. His parents said the state killed him. Your thoughts?
Well, I mean, it's telling, isn't it, that some of the brightest, most creative, and most principled people in America are simply being singled out to be destroyed. We've become a culture of sort of sheer brutal violence and sadism. I call it like macho decadence. You know, we know we're going down, but at least we're tough guys about it. You know, and this seems to be the attitude. Anything that points towards an actual viable future, it's like stomped. And that's what, you know, Aaron was, I consider him a friend. He was a great guy. And he's brilliant and he's principled. And it drove the people in charge crazy because he made a point that, you know, people who are producing are just totally frozen out of the situation. It's become a system of rent extraction. Even ideas like, you know, you go to JSTOR. I mean, JSTOR is one link in the chain, but you know, if I write something, I don't get paid for it, which is fine. But like, yeah, these are scholarly work. You know, scholars don't get paid for that stuff, but they do have to pay to see what other scholars are saying. I mean, these executives just like inserted themselves in the conversations between, you know, intellectuals, scholars, and now are charging them to talk to each other. I mean, what could be more obscene?
Well, the phrase there, rent-seeking, gatekeepers or trolls.
Exactly. That's what it is. It's a rent system, and that. So in that way, what Aaron was doing is exactly the same as we're doing at Occupy. We're just pointing out that what we've got now is a system of people who don't do anything that's worthwhile to anyone, but they just sort of sit there, privatize things, put armed guards around it, and figure out ways to, like, charge you for doing what other people have done.
Yeah, I think it's called feudalism.
Yeah, it's very close. I mean...
All right, well, that's all the time we have. The book is called The Democracy Project, coming out soon. David Graeber, thanks so much for out of time, and thanks for being on the Keiser Report.
My pleasure.
All right, and that's all the time we have for this edition of the Keiser Report with me, Max Keiser, and Stacey Herbert. I'd like to thank our guest, David Graeber, author of Debt, The First 5,000 Years, and the newest, The Democracy Project. If you'd like to contact us, you can email our ttv.ru or tweet us at Keiser Report. Until next time, Max Keiser saying bye, y'all.